it's the right forum to discuss this whole issue of sustainability. And it's wonderful to walk through these corridors and see so much that is happening. As you know, India has been talking for a long time that sustainability is to do with lifestyles. And it is something which was not accepted. In 1992, when the Rio summit happened, the senior Bush said that, look, America will only attend if lifestyle is not brought into the picture. And so it had to be removed, and they participated. But all these years it was not, and it was our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, who insisted in 2015 at the climate change meeting to say that sustainability has to be back, and it has to become an integral part of the entire discussion. And sustainability is something which is to do with lifestyle. Now you're seeing how India is doing a lot, but you're also seeing pronunciations by President Bush and others, President Trump and others, who completely deny what is happening, and they're talking about energy. So I thought today, for a few minutes, we are going to just launch a book. Nareshji, is it here? We are launching it? Yeah. So I was fortunate in having this book, and I thought if we can just do that first, and then I can continue to speak. So Nareshji, Nareshji, who is one of Naresh Tyagi, he has written a book on sustainability, and it encompasses a very wide range. He was telling you nearly 3,000 years of history, talking about how the Upanishads, the Indian thinking, talked about humans and nature and how it was so ingrained in us. We don't throw away things. I think there must not be a single person here who doesn't have a bottle in their kitchen which is not washed and reused. Textiles is something which we hardly ever throw away. We had this whole tradition of unstitched garments. So you have something like a sari, a patola sari. It takes 2 years to make. It's highly designed, but is not given with a prescription, so that the final outcome is a combination of the person who wears it and the person who has designed it. It's not something which I can just carry in one particular way. It is something which we're doing it. And when we started this challenge of environmental education way back in '84, when the subject was, people used to ask us, what is this environment you're talking about? We said, how do you design something for India? Such a varied country, so many different things, how do you do it? And I was actually asked in that time to speak at the North American Association of Environmental Education. And on that plane, I thought of the Indian sari. I said, can you imagine that you can make a piece of garment which is highly designed, but which will fit every woman in this country. In fact, every man if he so desires. But it fits everyone, and it lends itself to any type of use you want. So you must have seen many sari books. I usually have a slide showing at least 20 different ways in which a sari is worn in this country. But that whole aspect, and it's something which you never throw away. It's something, because it doesn't fit one, which is given from one generation to another. So I always was wondering, how do we make garments, how do we make apparel, which has some quality or some learning from that as well? Is this something which I can repurpose? Is this something which, so we were trying to talk to NIFT graduates, saying that if we can get students who usually wear out their clothes, they don't wear out their clothes, they grow faster than they wear out the clothes, to give it back. Can it not be an Indian tradition that all the clothes are given back to the school and we get designers to come and repurpose them and change them around? So can we not build an ecosystem in New India which matches our years of circularity, if you like, which was built into our culture? We used to have ways of doing it, but things have changed. Today I'm living in a nuclear family in an apartment. I can't just keep on storing it. I don't have a nephew or a cousin I can give something to. So what do? So another Bangalore-based company came to us and said, we are doing this exchange online. And shouldn't we be considered part of that tradition? I said, you should be. So tradition is not something which just means you do exactly, but you do things in the modern age. Our population at the time of independence, today we are 4x. 4 times that population has grown in this short period of time. Materials are very different. Earlier, you could have a banana and throw the peel and nothing would happen. Today, you have a banana chip in a plastic bottle and you throw that thing out, it won't degrade. And so you see littering all over India. You have the environment which has changed. You try and make your idlis in New York, and you will find that it's not fermenting. And the reason is the urad dal here attracts wild yeast from the air. How does that ferment? Because it attracts wild yeast. In America, you will have your daughter or someone phoning you saying, "Ye to hota hi nahi hai yahan," because they've sanitized that whole environment. You have new pressures which come up. So with those, change is bound to happen. And the trick is, how do you maintain your ethos in a completely different environment? How do you do something? Today, the government of India has decided under the new textbooks to give a compulsory subject at the 10th grade on environment. This will be something everyone in India learns. And what an opportunity to be able to do that. It'll come in 2026. They put a committee together. I am fortunate to be the chair of that, to write this textbook. And we were writing down, what would I like everyone in India to know? For instance, is it important that everyone in India knows that the gender of the child is to do with the father and not the mother? Just think how many households the pressure on the family comes because of this one misknowledge that, no, the woman is to be blamed, the wife is to be blamed. Now just imagine that. So just imagine what we can do without losing it and yet modernize. And that is the trick. We have been given a target of 2047 to leapfrog into a modern India. What will that be? Because if that India is the same as what America is, the whole planet will crash. So how do we leapfrog? How do we leapfrog into that? And India does do it. If you see the way we are using, I saw the way we are using our applications, Bangalore is the city, we are leapfrogging. So that's the story. I hope all of you participate in this whole journey of this thing.